Yeah, it's an emotional game. I try to be as even-keeled as I can. And, when I have to be, I am. But, when the game's out of reach and, we aren't doing the things that we need to do, in my opinion, then, I'm going to get frustrated. Like I said, we're competitive people. It's an emotional game. We're leaving all we have out there, and sometimes things get a little heated.
Love, hate, quarterbacks. That was Joe Burrow on some frustration caught between him and his head coach. But it happens still. Sure. Joe Burrow headlines the love list. Not worried about him.
Yeah,
he'll blow up on the sideline. No worries.
Yeah, anytime you're playing at an MVP level and your team can't compete week in, week out, there's only so much proud fantasy life investor Joe Burrow can do. It'll be interesting to see. Here's but we've talked about this. Zach Taylor's not going anywhere because the owner is so cheap. There's no way he's going to pay him out. So,
and where does he rank on their problems right now, Zach Taylor?
Well,
it's some players on defense.
I mean, well, I know, but they always underperform at the start of the season. Regardless, none of that matters. Here's what matters. If you have Joe Burrow, you're going to be happy. You're starting him this week. I'm as a top 4 fantasy play as well. Browns allow the most yards per completion. Teams that face the Browns actually have the highest average depth of target as well. And since week 8, no quarterback has a higher red zone pass attempt number than Joe Burrow. They get in close, he's throwing, right? They throw deep. They throw all over the place. So Joe Burrow should have another big game today. This week, I should say, he's my QB4.
Top 5 play, Joe Burrow. Baker Mayfield next on the list here, Jay. The Bucs have a top 5 team implied total. Baker's been as solid as they come in fantasy all season. That should continue.
Yep, same reasons why we expect Mike Evans to have a really good game. Obviously, the Bucs, their implied team total 26 against the Cowboys in primetime. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they sail over that. Very favorable matchup against the suspect Cowboys defense. Again, like I said, if they don't get pressure, they don't hold up on the back end, and I don't think they're going to get a lot of pressure on Baker.
Since week 6, the only quarterbacks not to get at least 17 fantasy points against the Cowboys are Bryce Young, Drew Lock, and C.J. Stroud. So Baker Mayfield, who's playing at such a high level, should have a big game. Feels like the Cowboys always play worse at home for some reason as well. Maybe they'll lower the shades in this one, but Baker should eat once again.
Outdoor Jared Goff against the Bears makes the love list, and that just goes to show you how bad the Bears have been against quarterbacks right now. Since week 11, they're allowing a league high 9.1 passing yards per attempt.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're 28th in pass defense in the last 6 games. They're giving up 18 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks, and you think about how they attack a passer, right? Chicago plays zone coverage at the 8th highest rate in the NFL. And when he's facing zone, Goff actually plays very well. He's top 5 in terms of touchdown passes and yards per attempt when he faces zone. So I actually do think, I know it's kind of crazy, but outdoor against Chicago, I do like Jared Goff this week. He's my QB8.
Some others receiving votes. Aaron Rodgers again, and that came to fruition last week, Matthew, because Aaron Rodgers had a big week against Jacksonville. He's got the Rams this week. He's QB10. Drake May, QB12 against the Bills, and Caleb Williams, who should be chasing plenty of points. He's QB13 against those Lions.
Yeah, look, obviously the Lions are missing a bunch of defensive starters here as well. And over the last 3 weeks, they're giving up 8.9 yards per pass attempt. That is the most in the NFL. So in negative game script, I do think Caleb's going to be throwing and be successful. I do think he's a top 15-ish play as well. Drake May's had at least 17 fantasy points in 3 of his past 4. Again, he should be down and throwing against a Bills defense that's allowed multiple touchdown passes in 5 of the last 6. And Aaron Rodgers, it's exciting for Jets fans because your dreams have come true. Aaron Rodgers matters in the playoffs. Now, it's the fantasy playoffs, of course, not the real NFL playoffs.
And for the Rams' playoff chances.
Yeah, and to the Rams' playoff chances. But he's had multiple touchdown passes in 3 of the past 4 games for Rodgers. They actually, since week 11, lead the NFL in red zone passing rate. So Rodgers padding his stats, trying to get a job next year as well. He's QB10. He's been in a media spat this week. Feels like anytime that he's in a media spat that he tries to go out and make his point with his playing on the field.
I'm not sure he can do it anymore. I'm not sure he can make the statement.
Whatever you think he has been viable in fantasy the last couple of weeks. That's the only argument here. He's in others receiving votes.
Stupid Dev has him rostered. Be careful.
Oh yeah, sneaky Dev.
Yes.
Slimy Dev.
Slippery.
Wow.
Slippery Dev. Yes. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.